Our first topic of the show, guys, is going to be something that I've been wanting to talk about on the YouTube channel, and that is regarding AMC Theaters. Every once in a while on the YouTube channel, we'll talk about the movie industry, and guys, I plan on talking about the movie industry more and more as we go along, as well as the gaming industry and just entertainment as a whole. And in this segment, AMC Theaters, guys, one of places, a hobby of mine is going to the movies. I absolutely love going to the movie theaters because I used to be, involved in filmmaking, went to the New York Film Academy, and just absolutely have loved everything regarding the film industry, that including the theater industry as well. Well, there's been a lot of stuff happening regarding AMC Theaters due to, of course, the pandemic going on in our world and talks of them going bankrupt and how this could really send ripple effects throughout the entire film industry as a whole. I want to talk about what happened here and will AMC potentially make it through this and what we can do to help when everything opens back up in our country. So let's talk about it. So guys, in an article that was written by Lisa Fickenscher and Alexandra Stengrad of the New York Post, AMC Entertainment is inching closer to a possible bankruptcy. The nation's largest movie theater chain, whose cinema houses have been shuttered nationwide since mid-March because of the pandemic, is in talks to hire law firm Weil Gotshal and Manges to explore a potential Chapter 11 filing, the Post has learned. Weil Gotshal's team is headed up by star lawyer Ray Schrock, who lately has worked as bankruptcy counsel to California utility PG&E, the Fairway supermarket chain, and retail icon Sears Holdings, many of whose stores got taken over by billionaire Eddie Lampert. The insider cautioned that it's early stages and that other advisors for the possible restructuring. Nevertheless, a bankruptcy filing looks increasingly likely as the company has already begun to skip rent across its locations, according to the source. So, really quick here, guys. I think there's one thing that it's definitely what's good to mention here is that AMC is essentially what they have done up to this point as the biggest movie chain, theater chain, I should say, in the world. What they've been doing is they have, as a publicly traded company on the stock market, they've actually essentially have been buying out so many different theater chains and expanding and making their theater experience as great as possible. They bought Lowe's Theaters, they bought Carmike Cinemas, they keep buying a lot of those theater chains, and they had been over the years. Well, what this did was it increased their debt load, which was all a part of the plan. They increased debt. They had about $5 billion in debt at this point, and they were just about to start turning a profit. And right when those profits started coming, then of course the pandemic hits, and now they're in a lot of trouble. And so I'm going to say this, guys. AMC, if they can get through this, they are absolutely going to be on their way to continuing substantial growth and probably getting through, of course, the debts and such, which $5 billion is a lot of debt, guys, especially for the, movie theater industry, just because there's a lot of question marks whether the theater industry is going to be a major thing in the coming years, say 20 years from now. Is it all going to be streaming, or are movie theaters actually going to still be a relevant source for the distributors as well as, of course, movie studios? Now, unless AMC can extract severe concessions from its landlords, a Chapter 11 filing may be hard to avoid, insiders say. A recent letter from Senior VP Daniel Ellis informed landlords it would stop paying rent in April. AMC is willing to discuss with you any suggestions you may have for getting through this crisis and planning for when AMC can reopen and pay rent, Ellis wrote in the letter. So, it's not clear how many theaters AMC would seek to close in bankruptcy, although the 275 lower-priced Carmike locations it acquired in 2016 for $1.1 billion are said to be among the laggards. With many of AMC's movie theaters housed inside malls, analysts wondered how AMC would be able to roar back to life once of course, the pandemic quarantines begin to lift. So, we also heard, guys, that the company, or one of the major companies that actually owns a significant portion of shares in AMC, actually said that them actually filing bankruptcy is false and it's just rumors at this point. So it's hard to say whether or not they're actually going through with bankruptcy. But what this could do, guys, is this could send ripple effects throughout the entire industry in a major way. That being that the movie theaters aren't going to be very relevant moving forward, and it's going to be all streaming services. Now, this is a whole nother discussion for another day, whether or not streaming services are going to be pretty much the bread and butter for every major studio out there, similar to Netflix. I think that having the movie theaters is obviously another source of income for these movie studios, so I don't see why they would get rid of having their movies go to theaters altogether unless their subscriber counts on their streaming services are absolutely astronomical. Now, if you go over to AMC's stock price, as far as what they're trading on the, on the New York Stock Exchange at this point, guys, their stock price is trading at $2.41 with a, essentially, guys, I mean, they aren't even showing the PE ratio at this point. But if you go based on all the way back to 2013, guys, they were at $19.68 when of course, their IPO went up on the stock market, and they were able to, guys, over the years, they've seen some highs in the 30s. They've even gotten close to the 40s. Now they've seen some low points. They were down to $13 in 2017, and you can kind of see this downward trajectory from their, just from their stock price. I mean, you saw some peaks, but for the most part, it was mainly valleys, guys, and it's just after the pandemic that hit, completely annihilated this stock in a major way. Now, is it all because of the pandemic, or is it because of other things? I think part of it has to do with the sheer amount of debt they have, guys. That's probably number one. Number two, in my opinion, is that the biggest question mark that is kind of raised, in my opinion, with all of this is, are the movie theaters going to be something that people go to down the road here? We already see what happened with the drive-in theaters. Is that same sort of mentality going to happen with actual just movie theaters in general? People aren't just going to want to go to them if they're paying for a subscription service like Netflix from home, or a couple of those, that being like Netflix and Disney Plus. It's hard to say. The movie theater industry, guys, is an experience, and that's what I think is the best part about theaters, and I think this is what you can do. When the pandemic does go away, and it will at one point or another go away and, subsides, going to the movie theaters, guys, is definitely something that you should do. If you love the movie theater industry and you love movie theaters or going and watching your movies at the theater, especially like your big blockbusters or even the more intimate films, it's really important that we do that, guys, because if you want to see this industry continue to move forward, it's very important that we go to the movies. Now, the cost of going to the movies is pretty high, and I think what needs to happen is it needs to come back down to earth somewhat. I know they go with inflation, but all in all, guys, it's too expensive going to the movie theaters, and so I think that the theaters are going to need to evolve in a way in which it's a little bit more economical for people to go to the movies, as well as getting some of the popcorn and like some of the other amenities at these theaters. It's really important to make it a great experience. And I think AMC is just subject, because it's the biggest, that it's getting hit the hardest because of all the debts that they took out. But all the theater chains are getting hit, guys, at this point in time. What happened to AMC? I think it really started a while back when they were taking out a lot of debt, and there were a lot of question marks around the streaming services versus that of the movie theaters. And are we going to start seeing more and more go onto the streaming services, and then eventually everything gets moved to streaming services, 100%, and there won't ever be a need for theaters anymore? Those are real questions that are out there. I don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon, but if we don't want those things to happen, we want to see movies in the theaters, guys, we have got to be supporting the movie theater industry in one way or another, and going to the movies, and even if going on days that there's, a bargain matinee or something, it's really important that we do those things. AMC, guys, at this point, it's hard to say whether or not they're going to survive this. Obviously, like I said, the Wanda Group, they were the ones who stated that the bankruptcy talk were all rumors. So let's hope that's true, and let's hope AMC can get through this, and I think they're going to come out on the other side in a great major way if they're able to survive this and start really reaping some of those profits that they have been just, desperately trying to get to that point of, and really just expand. And I think now they're hoping to reap some of those benefits moving forward. But let me know what you guys think happened to AMC Theaters and some of the other theater, chains that are out there. What do you guys think happened other than, of course, the pandemic going on? Where do you stand with streaming versus that of the movie theater experience? Let me know what you guys think. And for more entertainment, content, and videos, stay here with Zero TV.